Okay, folks, we are back inside, and I'll take a look at the situation what we're working on this morning, which was the barriers here, and we got our weights in, and all we're going to do is we're going to put two of them here, add some weight to them, and they don't flop forward. So they have some writing on there. I might actually cover that somehow, but at least we want them to be useful. Now this one I tried putting only one of them on here and I'm not happy with the results of that, so let's pry this one off. And let's just say that this sticker they come with sticks really, really well. Alright, so we're going to cut another single one and use that one together. We're going to install these and then we're going to go ahead and build the paint the gates that we primed earlier today. Okay, so that's two of them. And now we can just cut these in pairs. And maybe we'll even do a little bit of show and tell what we picked up today. I got some cool stuff. Depends if I'm done with this, if there's anybody here. No point in doing the show and tell, stealing my own thunder, and then there's nobody here. All right, we're going to have to start putting a little garbage for this. I hope I have enough. I think I do. Something to keep them from falling the hell over. One thing I forgot to do, I think I forgot to do it. There we go. So if we get this done and the gates done this weekend, next time we play we'll have decent looking gates. We can just focus on the cars. Oh, that one's already there. Well, let's put it over here where there's others like it. Each one of these I think is 1/4 of an ounce. So it's 1/2 of an ounce on each one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. 1 second. No? Okay. Tell you what, I won't be buying any more barriers after this. Like, I won't need any. I want some kind of special barrier, like something looks like a log or something like that. I don't know. Maybe those kind of the big kind of barriers that would actually be good to be like those barriers you would see like in World War II, like a city where they had like Berlin or something, where they had just taken, cars that were wrecked and just stacked them up along with chairs, the old piano that doesn't work, anything like as a like impede traveling down a road. Of course, a tank would just laugh at that and run it over, but something like that would be all right for this. But every one of those would be different. Okay, that one's done. This one's not. This one's done. This one's not. All right. And then we'll bring that tray over here and haul these all off this work area because the gates take quite a bit of space up. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Gonna have to do another set of 2 after this one. Did a lot of tedious stuff today, but it's stuff that has to be done anyways. Else I don't want to finish this. All this takes time. For a pretty simple game. Oh, I'm actually too short. Okay. Well, it's better than being just one short. You know, short meaning I gotta cut into the last strip of these. And then 4 of these. Take these and we'll put those in storage. Take the wrapper, throw it away. All right, so this is done. So I'm gonna go put these on this tray. Unless this is the box form. Yep, this is a box. Let's do this. So we've got these templates and stuff like that do like smoke and oil slicks and things like that. I plan on building an actual like oil slick, you know, in the shape of that. We got the template. We can make it out of plastic hard. It'll look pretty cool. I think these just fit in here. We'll need a better carrier for these. Okay, that's done. All right, the gates. I'm probably going to leave them down here and pull them up as I paint them because we're gonna hand paint this. I thought I was gonna airbrush them, but I don't feel like fighting with airbrush all night. That's what it would turn into. So let's get a new one of these. Let's get a new one of these and a brush that. Let's use a big brush. Damn, I hope I don't run out of this stuff. That's what I should have done. I should have bought more of this stuff. Melted chocolate as opposed to burnt umber. Well, I think one would probably work as the other one a pinch. What color is this? Dark chocolate. This is the messy part here. I'll probably move these tanks out of the way since we're not going to be working on them anytime soon. All right, let's lose the watch. Which are these? These are the super readers. These are the super readers. Let's not use the super readers. I think if I could get away with using this size brush on everything. Well, if this works, this is definitely the way to do it. It's a hell of a lot quicker. Okay, there's one. We'll do this. We'll do the bases last. We're gonna do all these pieces. That was actually like pleasant. I think I got enough brown paint to do all of it. Look, dry 1 hour between coats. Well, or else what? The colors will blend together? No big deal. Sometimes you want that. Kind of cool doing this with craft paint. You know, craft paint's all right. It sometimes doesn't cover great, but it works just fine. Why are you making them brown? Is it like beta wood? No, they're steel. They're corroded steel. Squeaky chair. Well, I like the speed that these are getting cranked out. I'm really optimistic about this now. Really optimistic. Seven people. Welcome, folks. Happy Saturday evening. Now, one thing's for sure. I'm glad they are made out of this material and not plastic, because plastic will absorb stuff. I mean, plastic won't absorb the paint, so it'll could swipe off. It's definitely going to adhere better to this stuff than if it was made out of plastic. That and you get flash. You don't have any flash on MDF. MDF is basically flash free. Kicking ass with this brush though. That's it, right? We have this one. Yep. Okay, let's do the overhead stuff. Some of that's visible, so. Back at it again. What did you end up doing with that camel? I didn't do anything. I left it right where it was. I needed to get back to this. I did pick up some stuff at the store. You want to see what that is? We went grocery shopping and went to Target. And Target had a pretty good selection of stuff. And this is going really well with this big brush. Really, really well. I mean, we're cranking through this. Airbrushing this black took way too long. She's over there. I'm probably going to try to add squiggles inside the other squiggles. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Let's make room. I spent like a whole $5. Freaking, I love this shit. You buy a bunch of stuff and it costs nothing. Alright, so. First thing I saw they actually had. Definitely something that's going to be repainted. A Z. Was this a 240? Yeah. That's a 240. So, this is actually a limited edition one that's only available at Target. So I was already aware of that. Unfortunately, the windshield's blue, which means probably not going to have the windshield in it. Yeah, definitely needs to be stripped. What else did we get? We get anything else for the Japanese team? I think that was the only thing. All right, we found a vehicle here for Lord Poppycock. Okay, this is an old school Jaguar Mark One. A Jaguar. Yep. Some uppity vehicle. For the Germans, they had this Audi Quattro. So now we'll have a BMW, an Audi, and a Porsche. I know, what's that leave? A Benz? Exactly. This even has one of those wings, so this is all tricked out looking. Okay, and then I'd seen this one for the lowriders. This one's called Lay-In Lowrider. Actually, some neat graphics on it. I'm not telling you who that's for. It's kind of obvious. That might not be worth. I mean, we got to repaint the rims. The rims are they're out of control. Okay, but the actual graphics on the car itself are pretty cool. And I saw this, I'm like, I have to get this. I have to get this. I don't know if there's actually somebody inside of it or whatever, but it's a food truck, and this one happens to be the fajita food truck. So, a van for Los Muertos or whoever the hell these guys are. Every one of these was $1.18. So that's pretty darn good. That's what we picked up. Yeah, so the camouflage is not really that big of a deal. The camouflage, I will put the other camouflage in it. Try to do the other. I mean, basically, when you sent me those pictures, I was on my way out to Target, so I haven't really looked at anything. I'll try to do the camouflage inside the other one and see if we can close that up a little bit, and then see how that looks. And if that doesn't work, we'll just strip it again and just paint it all one color. It won't do. I just thought that was kind of a cool concept. Unique smell. But Target actually had a really good selection. It's funny because I went there and everything was in disarray. And when I left, everything was in order. You just don't want to look through every one of them. So I'm like, okay, here's one where they're all orderly. So you just move them to an empty peg. And then there's some on the ground. You like that one? Okay, put it on the peg. Put it on the peg. So I ended up repegging everything. No extra charge, folks. But there was only one Z that I found. So those performance cars, they fly. I've seen that Audi at, they had the Audi at Walmart. I've seen the Audi at Walmart. Any of those performance type vehicles that are they're basically like the generic Hot Wheels that are, or the generic Matchboxes that are only slightly over $1, they'll fly. So. But you just have to figure out, okay, what's the core of all those vehicles? I mean, the Jaguar, that's just a regular car. The 240, I'm probably going to make it a performance vehicle. This is, I believe there's a van or a food. I think there's stats for an ice cream truck. So this would actually be considered like an ice cream truck. And then it's got a wing, so we might do that one as a performance car. The BMW, we're just going to treat it as a regular car. But, anyways, pretty good find. It was a lot of fun looking through the stuff. I actually encountered somebody else, another adult, that was looking through things, and it was like, hey, just so you know, this place has a lot better selection than Walmart. And he's like, yeah, I kind of know that. I don't know what it was going to do with them. Collect them or something, but we're going to do cool shit with it. I didn't have to explain myself what I was doing with them. Cheap thrills, folks, cheap thrills. I had some of those monster trucks, but they didn't have that Pinto. That Pinto monster truck. Poison Pinto, whatever the hell it's called. What'd you end up doing? Did you end up making bread? I mean, bread, I'd freaking eat it all too. I remember when we were registering for gifts for our wedding. There was a big thing, people were registering for bread makers. We do not need a bread maker. We don't need to eat more bread. Now, one of these is broken. And I'm not sure which one it is. That's good. That means I did a decent job repairing it. Oh yeah, I make lots of bread. Cheap and easy food. It sounds wonderful. It sounds wonderful. Bread and olive oil, man. I could live on that shit. My food of origin. Bread and olive oil. Yeah, we actually like, hey, let's go out to eat. We couldn't figure out where to eat, so we didn't eat anywhere. Like everything's so damn expensive and order. And hold these by this side and paint the bottoms. I'm sure somebody's probably bought these and went, you know, it'd be good to spray paint this silver. I'm like, yeah, that would be wrong. That would be, they're in not that kind of condition to be spray painted. So you can paint whatever color you want. You just, that's not going to have the kind of look I'm looking for. Let's not stand these up. So this big brush is really making things a hell of a lot quicker. So I don't know if the next step I could actually get away with using a brush this big, but I'm going to find out if I can, because it is definitely a time savings. I originally thought I was going to do this airbrushing, but that's just a recipe for it taking for way too long. So I didn't have any high hopes of getting a lot of this stuff done, but man, this is painting up so quick. Maybe I'll have most of this done today. That would be super cool. That would be super cool. If this gets done today, we'll start working on some actual stats for the cars. But I can't get too deep in the cars. We don't have a machine guns haven't arrived and all that stuff, so. You know, I'm not afraid of making some own, you know, with pieces of tubing, but they gotta be like ones that are already like stuck into the side of into the fuselage of the car. You know, where so just the little bits are sticking out. Or maybe I'll get sleepy and we'll be able to do it. Well, we'll be able to finish this color, that's for sure. You have a game coming up? I don't know if Mitch is available on Tuesday, but I'm willing to go over there and get another round of this in. I need to play frequently so we don't lose the traction we made. But honestly, I don't know. I don't know if he's available. We normally don't game on the same week that there's a convention, but since we don't even play the same stuff at the convention. And I just saw that there was a post today on the Facebook group for DBA that they're making a 4.0. I don't know what the hell that means. And people are like already up in arms. I'm like, I'm glad I'm not involved in that shit, you know? Like, leave me out of these fights or whatever. Good for like retired people that don't have enough on their plate. But just the fact that we'll have all the gates painted and all the barriers painted, that's going to make a big difference as far as looks go. You know, playing this game the other day allowed me to like now read the rule book and make sense out of what the hell they're talking about. Well, this one's not sealed properly. Well, we're going to paint you anyways. We'll glue you later. Local Texas gaming community is having their convention next month. Is it in San Antonio or is it somewhere else in Texas? I imagine they play a lot of like, what's it called? Is that Texas Mexican War, American what's that called, man? Mexican American War. I had a senior moment there. There's one guy that I knew always put in really good looking games. But they're all like from American history. And Mexican American War was actually one of the periods that he did. And his stuff looked really good. I remember he did like a whole Chapultepec castle or something like that, or at least part of it, or it looked like it. He was he went the whole hog and he'd do the whole thing. I never played much of his games because it was always like American history. So I'm like, what am I doing there? But he was a good guy, and he abruptly died like 2 years ago. I mean, he wasn't that much older than me. I mean, he was a guy who had his shit together. He was able to retire when he was 60 years old. Yeah, so he was a few years older than me. And was able to be retired like 1 year and then passed away. He ended up getting some kind of cancer or something like that, poor guy. And you know, it really kind of upset me, not because I was that close to him, but he was generally a good guy, and it's like, it's unfortunate. Somebody had their shit together so well to be able to retire at that age, and got fucked out of it, you know. It's near Austin. Been once back in 2014, but I haven't gone since. Probably won't go this year. I don't want to keep buying stuff if I'm not painting it. Fair enough, you know. You have a problem with self-control at conventions? I don't. Unless it's like really cheap. Like if somebody's got another bin of like tanks at $2 a piece, I'm probably going to have a hard time saying no to that. Now, with that said, that's the first time it's ever happened last convention, so I don't expect that. I actually hope they don't have that, but I would be tempted. I'd probably walk away with them. because it's just like, that's like just not available anymore. Fear of missing out, FOMO, buy it all, But that's just kind of a fluke that happened. I think we're great. I think we're done with this color, which is, record freaking time, man. Well, that's kind of the amount of time I was expecting this to take. It just wasn't the case. The painting these things black, I don't know how long it took. I don't know how I was out there, an hour and a half, maybe, something like that. It took way too long for what it was. But you know what? That's behind us now. All right, I'm going to go ahead and rinse this, but I'm going to go ahead and rinse it in the sink because there's a whole lot of paint in here, and then we'll go to the next color. I was digging through all the Three Kingdoms minis I have. I still have enough for like 4 armies. I'm still plugging away at the Chinese Shanghai project. Did another 3 small buildings now. You're working on a corner building. Well, I'm telling you, for your first building, I'm really fucking impressed. So, I think it turned out fucking great. Especially since it costs like beans. That's even better. You tell somebody how much it costs and be like, "No, you're shitting me." I'm like, nope. Sometimes the stuff's right there. You just have to open the pores in your brain and go like, this would make a good such and such. Yeah, that building you made was fucking awesome. And you can make it whatever dimensions you want. Like, man, I wish they'd make a building such and such. Fucking make it. When I painted those destroyed buildings, I was really concerned. I'm like, man, I know how to paint a building like new, but a destroyed one, it's not going to look believable. And now I'm like, man, I'd rather build destroyed ones. Go figure, right? Yeah, it turned out really well, man. But the secret to all that stuff is the loose rubble. I'm not saying you can't have any non-loose rubble, but having some loose rubble that you can kind of wing it, like, okay, so this needs to like blend into the, whether it's bricks or something, that's like paramount. That's like the clincher. All right, how are we gonna do this? Let's do the same thing. We'll do the top part, hold it by the base, and then flip flop. So, what manufacturer do you have for your three kingdom Chinese miniatures? And were you satisfied with any of them? Because you kind of have to fudge some of that stuff. If you watch any kind of movies or like that with I haven't seen the Three Kingdoms. Oh shit! We need to do this like this. We need to do this like it's dripping. I think that'll be a good look. You do anything that is, you watch any like Three Kingdoms movies or anything like that. I don't know how the soldiers are, but I suspect they look really badass. And then you look at the miniatures and you're like, oh, these guys just look stupid, you know. At least that's what I'm looking at a lot of the Chinese things. You look at some of those Chinese things, like, man, these guys look badass with the helmets and armor that's like scale and like helmets and shit like that, and then you go and see what miniatures are available for them, and it's like, man, they don't do anything. And maybe the movies do make them look outlandish sometimes, like wishful thinking and things like that. But I don't know, they look pretty damn cool when they put them in movies and stuff like that. No one will believe me how cheap. I'll probably do this China project for. I got a white 4x2 table. Might try and see if I can fill it up with buildings. 3K, mostly Lurkio. Okay, yeah, those look good. Then probably some Eureka, Magister Militum, and Essex. Probably missing something. The Magister Militum figures, which are the old, oh man, shit, I can't remember anymore. What was it? Whatever they used to be called before. Have weird poses. I've got some of them, and they're like super spindly, and I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of them. I wasn't a big. And the Essex guys, the Essex guys are kind of like a blank canvas. There's no detail on them that is so pronounced that you can't customize them to your needs. But they also, at the same time, they're not super like exciting to paint. And sometimes you get the guys that are on horseback that just have like really weird poses. But you're making a generic Three Kingdoms army. You're making one for a specific kingdom. And if you made one for a specific Three Kingdom army, which one would you do? See, part of me would be like, if I did that, I'd want to do I don't remember anymore. But in the video game, Wu was red, and Shuhan was green, and Wei was blue, and then the one that was the advisor for Wei that split off and did his own kingdom and didn't last very long in real life. His was purple, and that's what I'd probably do just to be different. It'd be purple. Magister Militum, super inaccurate, but they had some convict troops I wanted for a super duper late Han army. Who's the guy I'm thinking of? Who's the guy? He's like the guy that's like Zugalian, but not Zugalian. He was the advisor or whatever. Wei, Kingdom, military advisor. And at least, the other thing is in the video game, not necessarily, you know. Here's the wiki from Koei. By the way, how do you say that? Is that Koei, the company? Sima Yi. Sima Yi. Yeah. Over the years, the Sima family slowly gained more and more control of the Wei dynasty. Sima Yan, the grandson of Sima Yi, took over and created the Jin dynasty. Yeah, in the video game, they're purple. Yeah. Yeah, just to be different. I mean, purple's cool, You know, I'm so rich I can outfit all my guys in purple. Not completely in purple, but like a purple theme. Like most of the cloth purplish with white trim or whatever it is that goes with it. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. If I had to pick one of them, I'd probably pick Way only because they'd probably look good in like blue, and I probably would do something like this. Not like blue, but just what color is this? Shadow gray, but it's like a bluish gray. So it's not like way over the top. It's unfortunately that the DBA army is very similar for pretty much all of them. There's not like a huge incentive to build like, well, let me do all three kingdoms because I can do them all differently. I think like Wu has like more warband, and Wei I think has more horse. They got like light horse and stuff like that because they're more steppy. Wu is all back in the jungle. Shuhan's up in the mountains and stuff like that. And they get a variation of like one troop type. I'm like, that's freaking boring. Sima Yi, that's the guy. Yep. I forget what it was about him. He was like a poor man Zhuge Liang was like the big mastermind. How many times did I play that battle where the wind changed and he had to run across those fire ships and good stuff. I don't know if you remember, I ended up writing your own DBA 3K Army list. No, I don't. But you're probably more qualified to do that than Phil Barker. I don't dislike Phil Barker at all, but like, and I've said this before. If there's one army that I would never build for DBA, back when I played DBA, it would be sub-Roman British. The Arthur bullshit, right? I think King Arthur is like just shitty. It's like a make believe thing. All the cool things that you could say about you could be proud of the British, can be proud of this and proud of that. Like there's so many real characters, and and it's quite possible that Arthur is just made up bullshit. And that sub-Roman British, he's got like a whole page written to the history in the background. I guess you had a Woody for the sub-Roman British, but like, I'd never build that army. Like, doesn't interest me. Can pretty safely say I'll never build that army. The army's not particularly bad. It's not like it's composed of things that are like, man, these guys are a bunch of losers. No, the army list is fine. A little low on the mounted stuff, but like I said before, some of the best armies, balanced wise, are Chinese armies. But Chinese armies are great in DVA. Posted on Fanatic's forums and on my blog. It's almost as research as the Romano-British Army for the DBA. Yeah. You know, the stuff, the thing is you got to have people that are making army lists that don't have an agenda. You can't have somebody that has like an agenda. That was my big problem with some of the army lists that Phil created. He'd have armies that would have optional artillery, and and he gave it to some armies and not to others. And I don't mean arbitrarily. I like, if you look in DBMM, some of these armies would have it, but in DBA they don't. But you got to be impartial. You can't just be like, oh, I'm from Britain, I'm gonna make my stuff better. Or it'd be like me making the Spanish armies basically invincible. Or it just you gotta think outside the box. I actually don't like playing the Spanish. Too personal. Play anybody, I don't care. Even the bloody Mongols. I had the troops to make a Mongol army, just never got around to them. It's funny, when I was doing Armati, the guy that was like the head Armati guy that ran the Armati website and everything, I think he went by Sabadur, whatever that guy's name, whatever Genghis Khan's freaking army is. Subodeh Bahadur, or whatever his name is. And it's funny, the Mongol army is actually a really good army in Armati, and as opposed to DVA. So the armies that are really mobile in Armati are really have an advantage with initiative and maneuverability and stuff like that. But it's such a different game. You set up hidden, you set up wrong. Some guys will never even come into the battlefield because you can wheel very little. You set up in the wrong part of the battlefield, guys aren't ever going to go into action. You can't even wheel them enough to get over there. Yeah, Phil had a hard on for the Romano-British. Definitely. I'll be right back. Wanting 3K campaign like Little Wars Pyrrhus campaign. That'd be cool. That was disappointing. That video. I think I was expecting it to be a lot better. I mean, and that's a theme that really interests me. That's an interesting theme, but that one guy that played Pyrrhus all the way through, and everybody else took turns playing you. I wonder how edited, I don't mean edited. It's obviously very edited. I wonder how Well, we need this result. All right, well, let's make it appear like this happened. It is. Hopefully, that's not at all. Okay, I just assumed that people don't modify stuff like that, but reality shows are all like, okay, well, this isn't going to work out. We're going to make sure this is the result that we don't want. Maybe not every reality show, but I would say probably a big chunk of them is that way. And I hate to think that videos like that are also the same. That's why I just do things live. Like I can't cheat in a live video. Yeah, when they were announcing that Paris campaign, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. And then I saw it, and I'm like, this is a bit not what I was expecting. A couple of those guys did not like being in video. When I went to Historicon and just kind of did an overview of stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you're filming us? Oh, well, I do." Except for the one guy that talked to us for a while, and he was a really nice guy, and I would not have thought that from. I mean, I recognize him from videos. I'm like, this guy looked like a hard ass, or whatever. It's like he was a cool, friendly dude, you know. Whatever his name is, I can't remember what his name is. We'll go back and watch my video. You know, I'm like, I might as well film it. It's not going to be the quality you get from Little Wars. It's not like I'm going to compete on their turf. I mean, they can be the masters of that kind of stuff. You know, I'm just a stupid painter and like to play games. I'm not going to be some video god. That's way outside my skill set or interest to do. It's I may have to tinker how this looks tomorrow morning, but at least this kind of puts it on the right track to give it a plausible look. I don't know. I just expected it to be different. I don't know. It's just, there's some stuff that they've done that have been really. I mean, that game, that place that they play in, is pretty freaking cool. I haven't watched any of their videos in a while, maybe even a year. I feel like some of the guys in the video are like, there's some folks that you watch play in a video, and I'm like, I'm glad I don't play with you guys, because some of you guys seem like you just be like you're not any fun to be around. So I don't know. Maybe people think that about me. I don't want to be around Tony. He has too good a time at our expense. I don't know. Feel bad one person, dude. That takes forever. They do a great job. That's somebody's hobby doing that. It takes a colossal amount of time. It takes a colossal amount of time. It's not even the editing. Like I know how to edit all that stuff, right? Like I'd be able to do it. All right, we want this to come up, and we want this sign to come in, and we want it to come in from the bottom, and then when this guy speaks, we want it to fade to this thing. If you watch any kind of TV programming, you already know how to do it. You may have never done it before, but you know what it takes to make it look presentable, right? If you've seen any kind of programming, you know how it is. But doing all of it, and then doing it is actually kind of fun, right? Like I've got an editor on my phone that's really easy to use. I want to move this here. I want it to fade this portion. Easy to use. However, you got it wherever you want it. All right, let's crunch it down into packets. That part sucks ass because it's glitchy. It'll stop. You can't use your device for anything else while that's happening. Actually, uploading it to YouTube isn't too bad, because if you get disconnected and you pick back up, it'll pick up where it left off. But that crunching, I call it crunching. That part is horrible. I remember I did one video. We were on vacation in North Carolina, at a cabin in North Carolina. Whenever it was, I think it was in 2019. I think it was December in 2019. We were going to do it was just before COVID. So it was 2019/2020. And I had this video that a couple days before I had filmed with Mitch. And, it was just like a 4-hour video, right? Let's see, I have the 24 now. So before that, I had the 20. Before that one, I want to say the Note 2. Anyways, that's when I first started filming on. And I'd get the video exactly where I wanted. All right, let's compress. And it would jam. And I couldn't use my phone for anything else. And it would jam after like 4.5 hours. So I didn't use my phone for 4.5 hours. And it jammed on me. And I had to start all the way the fuck over. And that happened to me. I almost was like, I'm never filming another fucking thing again. Because it was just like, it was like, you have nothing to show for it. You wasted all that time, nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for it. And then if you edit on your computer, which at the time I didn't have a computer that could handle that. This computer, I could do it, but you got to use a program that's way too fucking complicated to use. The editor that I use for my videos is super easy to use. Like, I already knew how to do it just by figuring it out. But like DaVinci Resolve is too fucking complicated. It is. Well, if you want to do, nobody needs to do that unless you're making commercials for NBC or something like that. And if you do that for a living, okay. But like, I'd spend a lot of time. I would spend like 4 hours and have nothing to show for it. It's a huge time suck. Like, there's libraries of like free music that you could put into your videos. That's copyright free. But I've spent hours looking through the library of them just to find exactly the right. It's a huge time suck. Like, I can't do that and paint miniatures, So I already have something that's a time suck. So like, if I'm gonna film stuff, I'm not gonna edit it, And my stuff's really basic compared to the complicated things that they do on Little Wars. Because they make complicated videos. I mean, they have really good quality stuff. But yeah, if somebody's doing that and they're not getting paid, that's too big of an ask. That's got to be somebody that works for the government or something. Has some cush job that you're just bored to tears. I can't imagine doing all that heavy lifting on my free time when I'm done with my stressful job. Like, no, you'd have to read about me in a paper. I'd have to be in an insane asylum or something. But the concept of editing the video is easy to do. Like, you know what to do. You know what you want to do. It's just a matter of doing it. And DaVinci Resolve is so freaking complicated. And it's glitchy. But it's free. What are you going to do? I'm going to sue you because you're wasting my time. Well, it's a free fucking program. Don't use it, I don't remember the last time I made a video that wasn't live. Oh yeah, some of the ones of our trip of Spain. They're not heavily edited, but I'm telling you, the worst part is the crunch time. There was times where I was doing it, and if you let it go more than 10 minutes, your screen will time out, and when you time it back up, it'll glitch and not be able to. I mean, it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. In that late December 2019, it was just absolute nightmare. Actually doing the video, fun as shit. I can't imagine playing. I don't like playing games not being filmed, because all kinds of really interesting stuff happens. But like crunching it, that's for the birds. And especially like me, like, I film it. I want it to get out there for consumption. So it's like eating my soul, and I'm not being able to put it out. Like, you play a game on Monday or whatever, and it takes you until Friday to get the video out. Like, it's killing me. Like, I want people to see it. I'm waiting for AI to come and fix editing. Once AI is implemented, you will just have to tell the program what you want. I'm ready for AI to go to work for me. Like, once you go to work, I'm staying here and painting shit. That's the AI I want. I don't want self-driving cars. I want, you go to work for me. Go put up with shit like that. Absolutely do not want self-driving cars. I got trust issues, man. I don't like even being in the passenger nowadays. I saw an AI video this morning. AI is good for a few things, right? I saw an AI video this morning that the guy swore it wasn't AI, but there's no way. And this guy was, let's see if I could describe this properly. This is a person that would be considered handicapped. There was a video of them dancing. This Hispanic, Latino looking guy that was probably, I don't know, probably early 30s. And he was, did he have a case of dwarfism? I don't know if he had a case of dwarfism, but he was, and it had to be AI because this is impossible. But, there's this dancing man. He has a lot of these videos. And this guy was articulated. He had, something was wrong with his hands, poor guy. And his legs, he could stand up, but they were articulated like a flamingo. So if you imagine, it's just like, the poor guy looked like he came out of some kind of a science lab or whatever that had been experimented on. Now, I hope it was AI and there's not somebody that's really like that, because, it looked like he'd have issues, going through life that way. But I thought I saved it, but let's see if I can find this. God, where would it have been? Was it on Facebook? I don't know if it was on Facebook. But I don't like all this AI stuff because it just makes you just doubt everything. Like, there's already enough people up to nefarious, no good ideas to, where would I go under saved? No. I'll have to come across it and show it to you. It definitely looks like it's freaking AI. It just turns into like if you know somebody that's always telling lies, right? If they're telling lies constantly, you just assume, you take the benefit of the doubt that they're lying to you every single time. You can't take anything serious if they have anything to say. Somebody is always crying wolf. Well, the guy's always crying wolf's going to get eaten by a wolf. Nobody's going to believe him. Same thing like the people that are always like against one political figure, or they're always for this one particular political figure. They're everything they say is always in doubt. They're like, oh well, we're just going to ignore that. We're going to push this false narrative. Just you start doing stuff like that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to trust anything that comes out of your mouth now because you have a history. My wife uses AI stuff a bit. I would use some of it if you could speak into it, but like actually typing and doing all that stuff and then having to correct what I type, it's just too torturous for me. You know. Although there was an AI thing that I used, and I don't remember which one it was, about a year ago. And I'm like, all right, let's see how good this thing is. Give me a background story. Oh no, no. Give me ideas for scenarios, skirmish scenarios that involve French resistance fighters or whatever. I typed something like that, and the stuff I got was like legit. Like that checks all the boxes. Like those are legit scenarios. I got stuff like intercept and assassinate an important figure. Put a bomb a roadway, put a bomb or whatever, and try to derail a train. I mean, just all kinds of stuff that's like, yep, that's good, that's good. So it's handy. I don't know about doing work for you, but maybe getting you out of a opening the pores of your brain so you could think about different stuff. Like if you're stuck with something, like man, I don't know what to do next. I think it's helpful. I don't know about doing stuff on its own, but like maybe like giving you ideas to stick you. I would be tempted to use that for, but I don't use AI stuff for like directions or stuff like that for travel. I look at it myself. I don't like blindly like. Well, they say to go this way. I'm like, no, let me see which way it's routing me. I'm not going that way, you know. But it's stuff that I know well, so I don't do that with everything. If I know what the kind of result I'm looking for, yeah, I can, do that. You can speak into it, understands you the way better than the name I cannot say, because then she'll get all excited and makes it looks like decades old technology. Yep. Well, it's gonna take people's jobs away or whatever. Get a different job. I don't know. I would not want to do a job where I can't put my own spin on it. Like you got to do it a certain way, and that's the way you got to do it. Well, I think, well, you just get somebody else to do it. Get just some automaton to do that. You know, I mean, I can't do that in what I do for a living. You got to think outside the box, and you're always adjusting. I don't use a lot of speaking to things because if I have to speak into it, and like I know a certain person, we'll call this person Mitch. Mitch doesn't search on the internet for anything typing it. He speaks into his phone, and I'm sitting here. He'll be like, "Hey," he'll want to like score of the Packers game or something like that. Okay, he's a big Packers fan, and it'll take him speaking into the machine 7 or 8 times to get the result that he wants. And it's frustrating as fucking shit for me to have to listen to that same thing over and over again. I'd snap my phone in two. I'm like, fuck this. I'm just going to type it and be done with it. Not sitting there and like, nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Let's just get out of the way. Let me do it myself. You got this 4x2 thick piece of cardboard. I don't know what to do with it. I've never seen inch thick cardboard. You got this 4x2 thick piece of cardboard. I don't know what to do with it. I've never seen inch thick cardboard. So it's 4x2 and it's an inch thick. Is that one of the ones that comes in packaging, like maybe that comes in like an IKEA package? Because IKEA does this. They give you all the pieces, and then there's almost like these liners that are in there dividing the pieces so they don't bang into each other, and some cushion. And it's basically two pieces of cardboard, probably maybe as thick as this. And in between them, there's like a wedge of almost like an accordion. Make Mitch download Chat GPT. It doesn't do. I don't know. I don't think he'd be able to handle it. I'm trying to get him to get a computer, man. He can fly the friendly skies there with us. That's a freaking hoot. Of course, Don's been on a cruise, so I've been played very little each day. But I played very little each day, so I've gotten all this done. And like I told my wife, we went out today. I'm like, I'm in a great fucking mood, and I've been in a great mood all day long. Why? I've gotten all this done. I mean, I have to do all this, and I've kicked ass. I got to do it anyways. And this is pretty like, what do you call this? Mundane, non-exciting, but it's got to be done. So I do this because it's like, my therapy. And this weekend's been fucking great. So I can't even get Mitch to buy a case for his phone. He's running around with a phone with no case on it. What the hell is that? Meanwhile, I've got the Defender Super Armor and a screen thing. Like, these things are expensive, man. You need to take care of these things. I don't take care of my friggin' napkins, right? They're cheap. But a phone, you gotta take care of that stuff, man. He ain't Paris Hilton made of money or whatever. It was given to me by my aunt. It was probably from an IKEA set. Yeah. Hold on to it. I know what you mean. That stuff is actually pretty strong. Like, you can push down on it and it'll give a little bit, and then it's like, I had a whole bunch of it and I finally got rid of it because it's like, okay, I don't need to be like a pack rat. Trying to have my therapy, but people keep bothering me. Can't wait until some family members leave next week. Uh-oh. Not to mention any names. Yeah, interruptions are my cancer. I don't do well with it. And of all the things I could be interrupted and functioning, this is probably the thing I can be interrupted the best and still function. Because it's pretty mindless. And it's not stressful. Wow, this big brush has just been like a godsend. Man, if I was airbrushing, I'd still be doing the basic brown and everything. Yeah, our dishwasher's loud. Sounds like a wave pool. Interruptions get you pretty aggravated. I'm with you. I'm with you. They drive me crazy at work because I'm doing a lot of like precision stuff. And stuff with irony, like nobody will come in for 3 hours, and then in 3 hours somebody comes in, and somebody comes in on top of that person, and wants to complicate things by being involved. It's just like, yeah. Let's not talk about work. Now, that's my anti-therapy. You're not alone, man. And if anybody understands that, it's me. I got one guy would come at work. He's like, hey, can you help me with this? I said, just give me 10 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever. And he couldn't stay still for 20 seconds. And then he'd fucking leave. So I'm like, all right, I'm done with my thing in 20 seconds. I call him at his desk, and he wasn't there. He just disappeared into a black fucking hole. Like, dude, were you like a ticking time bomb? You turn into a turnip or something like that? Like, sit still here and be quiet for 20 seconds, and we can do anything you want. I just cannot stop and do what I'm doing right now because it's going to take me 15 minutes to remember where the fuck I left it at. And, there's a saying in Spanish that says, tú tienes que ser el interesado, meaning you're the interested person. Like, if you want me to help you with this, wait 10 fucking 15, 20 seconds and I'll be right with you. No, I can't. Well, then it's just not that important. If it's not important enough for you to wait there 20 seconds for it, then I don't need to stop what I'm doing for it. And so many people are that way, Because I'll go to somebody's desk, I'll wait till they stop for something. They're like, hey, hold on a second. Hey, I get it. And somebody the other day said, oh, you mind waiting? I said, dude, I work twice as hard as you do. I can take a break. Like a maniac. I can chill out and let my blood pressure die down a little bit. Yeah, interruptions are a cancer. And it's worse as you get older. We're not as sharp as we used to be. No, and I feel like I'm out of RAM. You remember something new, you forget two old things. Of course, you don't know what you forgot until you try to remember them again. Usually for me, it's probably names of actors and actresses. We've proven that over and over again. Luckily, it's not something really important, but, we're out of RAM. Or one term that we used to do this thing I used to call it the 4:30 hand grenade. The 4:30 hand grenade is at 4:30 somebody calls you. You're wrapping everything up for the day. Got a task of things that you still have to do before the day is over, and you want to knock them out. You want to get them done because I don't like leaving something for the following morning. So we'll just say a customer calls you at 4:30, and they want you to drop everything you're doing to help them out with something, which I don't mind doing it, right? That's what they're there for. Most customers are pretty cool. I don't mind doing it. But the next thing you know, it takes you like 20 minutes to work on it. It's 10 minutes to 5. You stop what you're doing to help them out. You call them back with the answer they want, and they're gone for the day. So you just fucked me and didn't wait around for me to solve the problem for you. So those haven't happened in a while, but man, they were on a tear. They were happening a lot. What I've noticed recently is I'm getting a lot less phone calls and a lot more emails, and I like that because the email I can answer it in a way that's not going to generate more emails, and you can solve it instead of like a phone call. Like I missed the phone call, so you call the person back, and they're not there again. So you leave them a message, and I'm like, all right, let me give them some time to answer, and I go pee. And I come back to my desk, and I missed a phone call. And it's the same person again who didn't check the message I just left them. It's like, it's a cycle of hell, You feel like your head is a hard drive, and it's so full of new information. It's added, old info has to go. Yeah, you're not alone, man. I'm right there with you. I get it. And maybe you don't lose the old stuff, but it's just hard to access it, right? Especially if it's stuff that you don't go into very often. Even a computer. You get a computer. My computer is now pushing 5 years old, which is pretty old for computers are because, the little ions and stuff in them, we're going to call them ions because I'm not a computer guy. But all the moving parts or whatever, when you start up your computer, the first time you start it up, it works great. Every time you start it up since that, it's just takes a little longer. Takes a little longer to get started, And that's if you don't have a virus or anything like that. And I honestly don't know what I'm going to do next month when the Windows 11 comes because I'm really resistant to getting it. Because I got 64-bit apocalypsed and I can't use the iPad. And I'm still having traumatic. I don't want to all of a sudden I can't do this, oh, well, something's incompatible and now you can't, use Streamlabs and film your show because you upgraded to 11 and it's a mystery and there's nobody to ask how to fix it. I'm like, fuck this. We're just going to go along with 10. So I don't think I'm going to upgrade. Because basically that would mean that, okay, well, I got to buy a new computer now, which is not in the budget and not necessary and all that. But the 64-bit apocalypse. Yeah, my computer basically works flawlessly, my personal one. I really don't want to tinker with that. I miss Windows 98. I knew where everything was there. These Windows for dummies that are like, where's control panel? How the fuck do I find control panel? Why isn't it down there in the bottom? Why I always got to screw with stuff? That's for people with not enough on their plate. Got to keep these nerds busy. I had a computer problem last week. So I called this guy, supposedly he's like the tech help for the company that we use. And I'm like, I feel like I'm more knowledgeable about computer stuff than most people he probably calls, right? So I'm like telling him, what problem I have, every step I took, and what the computer reacted to, because I would want to know that. He's almost like a mechanic, right? Like, okay, this is what's happening, and these are the steps that I've done, and it worked, all the background information so he could diagnose what it could be. So to help him out, so he could, get my computer up and running quicker, so, I don't get freaking behind, right? And most of those guys, you do that, they're on another planet. They're on the planet nerd, right? And I'm listening to this guy, I'm like, holy crap, this guy's got the social skills of an armadillo. But I'm going to be nice to him because he's trying to help me out. And he's like, I had a couple interactions with him. I was like, this guy's weird, man. Weird. I feel like I'm not the target audience for new operating systems. No, they keep making them dumber and dumber. It's almost like, it used to be Legos, and now the operating systems are almost like Duplo. That's what it looks like. It's like, Windows for dummies. It's like, it's not that freaking complicated, Always having to fuck with stuff, That's fine if you solve all the problems. I have constant problems that don't ever get solved. Like, I need to focus on that. Don't be creating new shit for me. The thing I'm the worst at is remembering fucking passwords. And everything's like double authentication. You remember what password is? No, I don't fucking remember what passwords. I'm going to reset it, Or you go like, create a new password. All right. And you enter one. It's not long enough. Okay. Well, how long does it have to be? It doesn't tell you. And then you go, okay, it's long enough, but you don't have any special characters. So you put a special characters. Well, you need more than one. I'm like, just fucking tell me what it needs to have so I can just create the password for it. That's why I stick to hand painting. Like, nothing goes wrong here. Like, everything's like super fixable. Nothing's a problem here. A computer programs that are real issue is real annoying is when something goes wrong and it doesn't work, and then you do something different, and the next time it works. You're like, oh, it fixed itself. And then the next time, it's broken again. It's like, okay, you're either working or you're not working. Not this, I work sometimes, Yeah, I hate passwords. We got this one thing that we have to log in, and it'll say, what's your password? So you enter it, and it's like, Do you want it to remember this? And you enter your password. Do you want it to remember a password? Yes. And every time you click yes, and every time it still asks you for the password and it didn't remember it. I'm like, well then I'm not checking the fucking box anymore because you're wasting. My soul is being wasted by checking on this box. So you're basically lying to me. You want it to remember the password? Yes, but you're not remembering it. So you're basically an electronic liar. Yeah, I suck at a lot of things. I'm not afraid of admitting I can't be good at everything. Passwords. Diagramming sentences. Oh my god. God damn, diagramming sentences. Poetry. Oh my god. Go away. Algebra 2. There's no hope with Algebra 2. I didn't say regular algebra. Regular algebra I'm using, probably doing it right now. I don't even realize it. Solving for X is extremely important. All that other negative bullshit, make-believe numbers that don't exist. Nope. Nope. You get somebody else to do that. Well, this is going really well. This is working really, really well. It's working so well. We're on the last color. I mean, that's pretty. I would have never thought that was the case. What is this one called? Toasted terracotta. Sounds like something on the something you could have on the appetizer menu. I'll have the toasted terracotta. Ah, yes. Now, we need to go really light on this because this is bright as hell. I'm not even going to rinse this off. And we're going to paint it right on here. All right, let's go to one of these. And unfortunately, it covers like ass. And that's not a good thing. I need it more. There we go. And same thing, we'll get the foot of this at the end. And my wife will be like, well, you need to get a password keeper. I said, well, set it up for me. And then you use this password keeper, and the password keeper needs a password. Like, how the fuck am I going to remember that one? I remember stuff if my life depends on it. If my life doesn't depend on it, I don't remember it. I can't give a shit about everything. There's not enough of me to go around. Yeah, MDF stuff is really cool. I'm not a fan of putting it together though. I feel like the tolerances on it are extremely tight. This MDF thing that I got for the Vallejo paints is a perfect example. It looks great done, but man, I freaking hated putting it together. I absolutely hated putting it together because I needed to seal it and paint it white and give it a treatment. The end result's nice, but it took a considerably longer amount of time putting it together than I thought. Like, oh, I'll have this done in one day. It took like 4 days, maybe even longer than that. Had a lot of steps where it's like, all right, we got to put sanding sealer on it so the paint doesn't soak up. So, it's not painted white, and then, a month later it looks tan again because it soaked all the white, the paint soaked all the white up and all that kind of stuff. Like, I was expecting it to be a hell of a lot quicker than it was. So what are the pillars for? I know Gaslands, but do they serve a purpose in the game? This goes across them. It's the gates you have to cross. So 2 legs for each gate. This is the crossbar on the gate. So the gate goes like this. And there's a gate for like the start, and the second gate you have to go through. It's that purpose of the gates. They don't have to look like this. You can make homemade ones of literally trash. You could probably make them that look like trash. You're racing in a junkyard or something like that. That's what they're for. So would they be used in every game of Gaslands? I don't know. If it's some kind of a race where you got to go through certain areas, yeah. I mean, I guess you could come up with something really creative. You can put guns on them or something like that, and they shoot at you as you go by or whatever. Almost like the sand people, shooting at people in the middle of a race. Sand persons. And you could customize them. You could add like parts and shit and make each one of them different. That'll come if I feel like I need to do it. But there just happened to be a vendor that happened to have these, and I'm like, I don't even pick them up. And 7 years later, I'm painting them. My imagination really starts going when thinking about all the stuff you can do with Gaslands. It's really the sky's the limit, And the plot, you could be whatever you want the plot to be. As long as it's fun. It starts varying too much from Gaslands. Fucking call it something else. Blastlands. Whatever. Now, I would not have made a D6. I'm not a natural D6 player. I think a D6 is just not... There's not enough stuff in there. But it works. Is it worth changing that? Absolutely not. But, I wouldn't have come up with that. I don't think that way. What was the cartoon called with all the different characters doing racing? Oh, man. Is it the Laugh Olympics? Yeah, it was always the Scooby-Doo team. The Scooby-Doo team always would win, or the other one would win. The Scooby-Doo team or the team that had the Yogi Bear. Yeah, Laugh Olympics. Yep. Laugh Olympics. Yeah. The Yogi Yahooies, the Scooby-Dooies, and the Really Rottens. Really Rottens never won. Period. It was a toss up whether it was the other two would win. Yeah, here we go. Oh, this is awfully dull looking. Grape Ape and somebody actually makes. I think somebody actually makes cars for that. Like they make a set of cars for it. I think it is called Wacky Racers. Wacky Racers Miniatures. Yep. Yep, I don't make this shit up. Well, that's expensive. $763. However, they're also selling them on Etsy. Yeah, look at this is pretty freaking fun. Highly detailed painted miniatures. Okay. Oh, this is a Disney. Nope, this is not a Disney. I guess it's from a board game. That would be pretty fun. That would be pretty fun. Yeah, they have a little dog that will always laugh. What is it? Whatever. Emphysema laugh. Make your own car, but it sounds like a lot of fun. It could be. Yep. I need to get somebody to make me a 1/72nd scale Virgin Mary to put on a dash for the Mexican team. Come up with a better name for them than that, you know. Lowrider Locals or something. Every one of their vehicles is going to be a lowrider, which that doesn't really limit the amount of vehicles. There's a lot of Hot Wheels that are lowriders, a lot. And believe it or not, even though I would not want to drive a lowrider in real life, most of them look pretty damn cool. Most of them look pretty darn cool. Actually, the lowrider isn't the problem. It's when they got that articulated, you know, like it's like having a seizure. The seizure suspension on those things. Well, this alone is going to make the terrain look a hell of a lot better with this. And we still need to do some staining, and you know, there's like some nice little rivets here that can make them pop out a little bit more. I need some 1/64th scale shoes and throw them like around a cord and hang it off the top of this thing or something like that. I look at this and this totally looks like Borderlands to me. It's totally like got that Borderlands vibe going for it. Have you seen those people carve rice grains? It'd be pretty small. Well, it could be, you know, over the top, but I mean, it's got to be like, you know, even if it was like this big, you know, half as tall as a person or whatever, you know, because they love that anything Virgin Mary. And it might be criminals or whatever, but they got the Virgin Mary everywhere. Got nothing against the Virgin Mary. I'm just saying, you know, how about not be a criminal first? That's a little bit, you know, that's going to get you into heaven a little bit better than, you know, having the Virgin Mary everywhere. Now, I don't know how many Mexican vehicles I got, how many lowriders I got. I probably have 5 or 6 of them. And every one of them is freaking cool. And every one of them actually has pretty good paint job already. So after we're done with this, then we're going to go back and screw with the car that we did the finish on, and see if we can't finish it in with the original paint. But I tell you what, giving it that matte coat definitely was a game changer. And I think what I'm going to do with Hayabusa is I'm going to repaint the rims. I'm going to repaint the rims so they're not gold, because that's kind of like you're having to squint your brain to see what it looks like. It's a little bit of that, and then see what to do with it. I think the green color for the camouflage is like spot on. It's exactly what I was looking for. I just think we need to make the pattern a little bit tighter. Seen some pretty small Virgin Marys on rosaries. You'd need a really small rosary. And I was just thinking of the Virgin Mary by herself. Now, it's usually like on a background when it's on a rosary. You know, like one that would have like, I was going to say flames, but not really flames. Like, you know, like shining or something like that. Didn't think about rosaries. Might have to do some digging on Etsy. Just be cool. It'd be cool to have something like that. You know, but every one of my vehicles is going to be a play, a double entendre, not necessarily sexual, but definitely a name is going to have a double thing to it, you know. Like the garbage truck for the rednecks, you know, that's white trash. You know. I don't think they have a garbage truck thing, but a garbage truck vehicle type, you know. I was really disappointed that I ended up going into Hobby Lobby and I couldn't find any Hindu or Buddhist type little trinkets to put into the jungle stuff, like to make like a little shrine or something. You know, I didn't want a Buddha guy that was like laughing with his hands up in the air. You know, something more serious, like the ones that are setting Indian style, or you know, the ones that are kind of like doing a dance or something like that. Anything, couldn't find anything like that. Michael's didn't have anything either. I swear I've seen stuff like that at both places. You know, maybe they didn't sell. I don't know. That was like asking for. It just seemed natural to be able to find that kind of stuff on there, but neither place had any of those. Can't look in Joann's. Joann's went out of business. They probably didn't have any. That place always had problems with like having modern stock. They had things that seems like they've had in stock since 1974. Oh, I know what I was going to call it one time. That gang, the East Coast Essays. That's what it was. I don't know. We can do better than that. You watched any of the 3D bot makers videos or whatever on the die-cast cars? Man, some of that stuff is absolutely side-splitting funny. I see a 15mm Virgin Mary on Etsy. Let's see. I only need one. It's like you don't need one on every car. I think it's too big. Yeah, I think it's too big. Yeah, something like that. You know, it doesn't have to have any kind of background or anything. Yeah, she's too big. Almost like a 5 millimeter one. Yeah. Yeah, 15 millimeter is, yeah, it's too big. Be one hell of a hood ornament. It's taller than the freaking car itself. But I'd like to see if the graphics, if doing the graphics would work, because you know they got that fajita truck. I know where they make a taco truck too. You know that would have to be an ice cream van. I think ice cream vans are actually really light. They're not like a vehicle with a lot of staying power. I mean, I'm having a hell of a time. I'm having a hell of a fun time going to the toy section and looking through all the diecast stuff. I'm just enjoying the process. You know, I'm not looking for anything in particular. I'm just there and see what finds me. Go nice. Nine something. Yeah, this whole slight time change is really throwing me off. You know, I'm like, oh, okay, it's completely dark. It's 10 then, right? Yeah, it gets dark at freaking 8 o'clock or whatever. I'm probably going to cut off after I'm done with this one, because I need to have some dinner before it's too late. And then we'll be, if I wonder if somebody does 6 millimeter version, it might work. It may. That was just a thought. I don't have to have it, you know? They make decals for rebel flags and everything, but I'm probably going to paint them on. We won't paint the actual like little stars. We'll just put dots for them. I probably will not make them big like on the freaking hood or something like that. Just a little bit more discreet so that you can just do a dot for the stars and it doesn't look out of place, right? Like if you make a big rebel flag and it's really big, you got to paint the actual stars or it's going to look like, you know. But if you make it small, you can hide the fact that you're just doing like dots for to take the place of the star. But I'm not getting hung up too much on the vehicles until all the guns arrive, which will be in about a week or so. What did you do? Knock another 2 hour session in? Perfect. Now this has been it's been a great freaking weekend. Great freaking weekend for this. So I appreciate you guys listening to my nonsense for some amount of time. It's been very productive. And let's put one of these together and see what we're looking at. Oh, I didn't do the bottoms on some of these. Well, we're not done then. We're not done yet. Jesus. All this color down here is distracting. It's like a pumpkin has been menstruating. we got that one to do. And that one. Somehow this leg got like no color of paint of any of them. And that way we can fully hit the ground running tomorrow morning. I think this is the right color I'm looking for. Keep pulling one out, and it's like that one didn't get the treatment either. Another one. Okay, is that the last one? That's the last one. All right. So we're gonna sign off for this one, and we'll see you guys back in the morning if you're morning people. All right, folks.